Quick aside, everybody, before we get into the actual content, I was accepted into the Phobies Content Affiliate Program, the content creator program, you might call it. Shout out to the Phobies team, and thank you for that. But the reason I'm telling you, everybody out there, dear viewer, dear listener, is to let everybody know that I do receive some compensation from the Phobies team as a result of being part of that program. Now, I loved Phobies before, and I still love Phobies now, and I expect I will still continue to love Phobies in the future. So look forward to more Phobies content coming from Random's Thoughts. So now, on with the show. Like I said, just waiting for this to light up. We'll jump into an A. Markin game. Right off the bat, we're here on Billy's Room. A. Markin and Agoraphobia. We were watching an Agoraphobia game earlier today. A. Markin, of course, another seemingly permanent resident of the top of the leaderboards. Of course, the in-game leaderboard. So we'll have to see how this one plays out. We're getting fairly standard openers, although the early game tickles is presumably a concession to the opposing unicorn. Now, I commonly lead with Stabby, or in the case of the event, the recent mech event, it was Bow Mangles to try and score some points there. But a early turret on this map can often lead to a lot of victories. Unicorn, of course, sort of fits into that territory, and we were briefly seeing the Stabby, but it looks like A. Markin doesn't like that. Oh, I take it back. They are, in fact, committing to this game plan. Welcome to chat. Welcome to everybody who's showing up. Shout out to everybody who's both playing and anybody who's just here hanging out enjoying some fun Phobies games. We're getting fairly mirrored starts here. One key, unicorn, unicorn, stabby, stabby. Of course, the extra key goes to our orange player, so we get a spare one key here. I'm going to be surprised if the Tickles ends up eating a trap, to be perfectly honest. I kind of expect that it won't. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. So a bank from A. Markin. The panic points are, of course, even here. This is much more patient than your typical ladder game. In a lot of ladder games, people are like, I want to smash my Phobies into your Phobies. And you just try and bludgeon each other with whatever happens to be on the board. Inevitably, somebody comes out ahead, and then they kind of ride that snowball to victory. Not the Phobie snowball, but, you know, just build up an advantage and keep it rolling. In this case, we're getting much more patient plays out of both players. We're getting bank to 6 and bank to 6. But the question is, what is going to break the stalemate? I wouldn't be surprised if both players bank to 9 here, and then try and slam insert big Phobie, but instead we're going to get a Klepto. The stalemate is broken initially by A. Markin here, getting a little repositioning to get the Klepto into a slightly better spot. Now, I have to imagine there's probably a trap here at this point. I doubt the Tickles is going to come in here. I doubt the Tickles is going to come in, but this kind of does concede some positioning to our orange player. Because you can... Oh, we're just getting a rearrangement. I was going to say that this Stabby could hypothetically just occupy here, and yes, it would get hit by 3 things, possibly. No, it can't even get hit by... Wait, can a jar hit it? 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Yes, a jar or a snowball could hit it here. So this could have been a dead Stabby. I take it back. This is one early Tickles. You are correct. All right, so we are getting very mirrored plays. The Klepto is answered by Klepto. Now remember, of course, all level 1 Phobies, there is no inherent advantage to your Klepto or mine. But the first blood goes to A. Markin. At least the first damage. Maybe not first blood. We'll call first blood the actual first Phobie takedown. Of course, we don't have any of those just yet. Still A. Markin Agoraphobia action? Yep. So this is arguably an aggressive play. This Klepto can get hit twice by this Klepto and this Stabby, but given that Agoraphobia maxed out, there are no options for supplemental hits. Realistically, it would only be Jar. That's the only thing that could reach. So the question is Agoraphobia going to take their hit and walk away, or what? They are not. They are sticking in there. That probably... No, it actually... So here's the thing. Only 800 damage will be on the return from Klepto, unless this gap is left open. And realistically, I don't see a way that it's going to be. Either Stabby or the cat occupies that spot. Now, the problem is the cat will die to splash from Klepto, so it can't be that. It has to be the Stabby. So the question is, do you want to offer up your Stabby in order to try and threaten these? Because what will have to happen is then your opponent, blue player, A Markin, will have to find a way to clear the Stabby in order to actually finish off the Klepto, because you need the hits from all of these. As of right, like, this is just a dead Klepto here. Now, the panic point advantage does go towards our orange player temporarily. Wait, really? Okay, 6 keys banked for both players. Panic points flipping. Was this just an error? Or, no, does this live? Did I miscount it? Oh, this lives by 5 health. Because this will end up at... This is 400, right? Oh, this would live by 5 health. In my head, I was thinking that this was, 2 hits, 1 hit, this is dead. It's actually not. It survives, which is comical to a degree. The answer from A Markin is Clinico. In order to heal up the Klepto, we get an answer Clinico here. This Klepto is a little bit hurt, but not much. Of course, this one is also a little bit hurt, but similarly, not much. Getting the first beats, getting laid down on Stabby. No follow-up beats, however. The Klepto probably appropriately does not want to hang out in the center. There is a Phobie slot available, so a jar would be able to supplement, but it would be 1, 2, 3, 4 plus a jar. I don't know if that's enough to actually kill it, but regardless, this Stabby is suddenly in a rough spot. I don't know why it's not showing it. There we go. Slight visual bug there. Didn't quite pop it up. They're getting some free hits here. You know what does that always happen when Klepto gets hit, that there's, it looks like there's concrete blocks flying off of it? A Markin going in, willing to accept the damage here, given that your opponent is maxed out on Phobies. If you don't kill something, even though they have 6 keys, you're locking them out of their 6 keys. That gives you the opportunity to decide, okay, well, I have the panic point advantage. I can soften up their Phobies, and then when I am prepared, I'll finish everything off. Only 9 keys total remaining, and 6 of those for our blue player are going to be turned into a Mount Crushmore. So I don't believe this Klepto can die. Yeah, there's no... The only other thing... Well, these 2 can hit it, actually. So that's 600 more damage. But that's enough to keep it alive. The Clinico will be back online shortly. Still on cooldown for the moment. But we will get that back. And then we'll have a mostly healthy Klepto. So I think A Markin is taking a good line here, trying to actually present enough threats so that way you can chip these things down, weaken them, and then just in one fell swoop clear the board. However, our orange player probably sees that coming, and the question is going to be, do you just simply want to go over the top, drop a Hevo 3.0 on the board or something like that, let it control the table? You already have access to the Clinico, so a singularly large Phobie is a significant threat. The problem here is this is not dead. And I feel like this should have come in to finish this off. This seems like an error. Could this not have moved into position to kill this? Granted, yes, you get a lot of splash. But then the Klepto's committing? It's not concrete. I think it's stuff in his fur flying around when it gets damaged. Yes, it looks like concrete. That's how I'm describing it. But we're talking about the Klepto hit for anybody that's confused. But I just don't remember that detail. And I've seen a lot of Kleptos. I must have forgot. So this unicorn seems to have been fairly strong bait. Are we going to see a hilarious build the castle moment and seal this off? Probably not.
but it's not impossible. Don't expect it for a variety of reasons, because there's still a lot of threats. You still have to commit to kill these things. And a Hevo 3.0 even here can then tag this to splash a bunch of damage. I don't know if that would actually be good, but maybe. So 9 keys are now available. And in fact, it is a Hevo 3.0. How is A Markin going to answer this? They are now maxed out on Phobies. How the turntable? How the turntable? Yeah, I was going to say this needed to happen last turn if it was going to happen, because now this is in position to get 2 hits, and you will almost assuredly lose a bunch of stuff, or you're going to regret it at the very least. This, at this point, probably makes more sense. Break these back blocks, give you a little more mobility. You can protect this. Your opponent's out of keys. They have to commit something valuable. Although, in this particular case, I expect the quote-unquote value to be stabby. Without having this in range to finish it off, so you can just kind of sacrifice something, you're now going to have to commit something to take a fairly large chunk of damage when you finish it off. And you're going to take a bunch of reflect damage here as well from its voodoo. Ooh, actually, the play here is to not take it immediately. The play is to not take it immediately. It's instead staging. And realistically, A Markin can't threaten this position. You might be able to kill the Klepto, but then you're going to be wide open to the counterattack from Hevo. I don't hate this, trying to soften this up, but I think you need to preserve the Klepto. If the Klepto goes in here, it's just dead. These are going to get splashed, but then the idea is that your opponent's going to have to position in an awkward spot and probably only kill one of these, because you're going to get 2 hits, 1 hit, 1 hit. And that means that the Stabby is going to be here, so the Klepto has to be in either of these positions, presumably here, because then it's not immediately in range of the Klepto. And then you can follow up with a Snowball to try and clean things up. The problem is this Hevo is going to live. So we're looking at Clinico cooldowns to see who's going to outlast the other player. Still have a while to go for our orange player. Our blue player is going to have it come back up faster. So how do you negate or minimize the dimensional damage from this and the pull? So as I was expecting, we're getting the Klepto going in here. This actually is not enough damage to kill the Crushmore. So that means fire is going to eliminate the Stabby here, allowing the Crushmore access still to the Hevo. This is a lot of stuff. This is a lot of stuff that's still very healthy. Like I said, a Jar or a Snowball can actually connect with, say, this Klepto. But we don't have the heal online, and I don't think you kill this. Actually, you can... No, you can't, right? This is 4, 8, 1200 damage is all that's going to come out onto this Hevo if you go for it. So you have to take the kill here on the Klepto and then hope that you can somehow get the Hevo before the Clinico comes back online. Not an impossible feat, but certainly a challenging one. So there's the Snowball as predicted. The game is now going to revolve around, does this Clinico get to heal the Hevo? And I expect it will. And I don't know how quickly A Markin can try and resolve this. Now, the Hevo cannot push aggressively. It will die. There isn't enough damage in range to kill the Klepto. There is enough to kill the Snowball, but then that results in whatever that thing is dying. That may be worth it. Unicorn kills Unicorn. Stabby goes into... Well, it would have to be Stabby and the Hevo. But instead, we're getting the Stabby kill here onto Unicorn. That makes sense. We'll see how the remainder goes. Gotta check the round timer real quick, chat. Still got plenty of time in the round. Plenty of time in the round. Over 23 minutes left in the round. So this Clinico is clearly going to get the opportunity to heal. And this is where it starts to get really complex for a Markin. Both players are out of keys. You do have some splash, but only these two Phobies can threaten this Hevo, and it's not enough damage to kill it. 1,000 health versus 620 damage? Not enough. Not enough. You do get to heal here on your Crushmore, and there's time. There is time. You have 5,200 health on your heart. You jumped out to an early health advantage. Ooh, this is an interesting play, committing like this. Yeah, you would lose this for freezies, basically. They get the recap on the point. Ooh, really? This is a dead unicorn. So our blue player is banking on the fact that these three Phobies are better than these three Phobies. Now, given the extra damage that's going to be laid down due to the snowball, maybe this works. And of course, it's going to displace something out of position. But whittling down your opponent's forces so that it's strictly the Hevo remaining is a play. Because you'll have two threats, they will only have one if you can make this situation materialize. And you have time. 5,200 health means you have time. I don't think you want to do this if you're going to kill it. 350. Because you're going to end up... Yeah, Ooh, making the challenge play here. Making the challenge play, accepting the fire damage that's going to go down. So this is really a 221 health stabby. Because it's going to take 100 fire damage and then another 100 fire damage. And it's low enough. Oh, you might be able to get some splash here. Splash, and how much is the splash on this? 200? No matter what, you're not getting the stabby with fire damage. I don't think there's any way to actually make that happen. But you do get 2 hits here onto... that might be worth it. This is 800 damage coming from this, meaning this tanks it. This will not tank it. But going for it, and it's going to come down to... Oh, it's just a dead Hevo. They saw it. Ooh, the double trap here, though. Can Clinico pull it out? I'm going to go out on a limb and say no. Go out on a limb and say no. Well played, both players. See, Hevo 3.0 isn't unbeatable. It's not unbeatable, chat. Even on a small map, well played. GG. That was a great game. That was a great game. What is going... Oh, well, I was going to click on Redwick, but we got DT and Redwick. They are squaring off against each other. Looks like somebody was playing it very close with the timer here. DT at a 4-to-1 panic point advantage. There is a Smiley on the board with an attractor that has an available pull. Looks like that pull was undone. We'll have to see how DT plays this from here. Pretty big advantage. You think Adrophobia threw the last game? Possibly. Possibly. I think Amarkin played it very well. Credit where credit is due. Definitely, they found the line that would give them the victory. And that's the thing. Is it a throw? Possibly. I think Adrophobia was in an advantageous position. But there's an argument that like, both players play the game, and it's a personal line where you say, oh, well, this is a throw, this is a great play, kind of thing. It's a difficult call to make, for obvious reasons. So we are getting the Smiley going in here. 0 keys remaining for our blue player. They are very much on the ropes. 1,400 health to 4,600. What else showed up this game? Bowmangles, Contortio Cat, Creep, Cowbell, Razormouth. A lot of the Phobies for this game are on the board. We do have a lot of keys being tied up in medium-sized Phobies. Yep. Got a ping. What's going on here? All right. DT beat me game 1, so yes, we've seen a DT game. Did we? Yes? I'll take your word on it. Evo 3.0 isn't unbeatable. They just needed 12 keys to counter it. I mean, 12 keys to beat 9 keys doesn't sound ridiculous. That's like saying, I mean, is the ratio... Because it wasn't strictly 12 keys to the 9, right? There were other elements on the board at all points in time. But if you said it takes 6 keys to beat a 3 key, that doesn't sound great from the perspective of like, oh, well, oh no. I think DT ran out of time. This could have been a dead attractor. I think DT ran out of time here. Is that a throw, chat? Is that the game? 600 health. I don't know if they can kill this. Yes, they can. Who poisoned the bear? Well, it was a Smiley that did it. It wasn't a poison. It was disease. So I think DT has this game despite this turn. Okay, they undid it. Despite that turn and what seems like a out-of-time mistake here, is that DT can recap both the center and the top panic points, I believe. Oh, no longer. GG. GG. Apparently we got to stop playing the big house against DT. Yeah, DT seems to have this map on lockdown. Well played. Let's take a look at the Slime Cat game. I don't think we've seen a Slime Cat game yet today. We have Slime Cat versus Nico Kawhi here on Hold Still. There's, of course, a Shadow Force game still going on. Let me check the timer real quick. Let the contestants, the competitors know. DT had 4 keys remaining also. Yes, also that. Also that. So we got a lot going on this map. There's actually a sheep on the board. We do get the block here from the Gravedigger. There's a Temptress, chat. There's a Hevo 3.0 as well. Let's get weird. Let's get weird, chat. So we're looking at 7,400 to 6,400. Still a lot of heart health left in this game. Only a Razormouth and, well, a Henrietta have died. It wouldn't actually let me click off the vault when I click on the vault here. Will it let me do it if I do it like this? It does. Okay, so it must have like an invisible bar there. So the sheep is being somewhat aggressive. I mean, there is a muffin. I don't really get this muffin. I don't get, or the sheep rather. Like, this just doesn't seem, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of sheep, chat. Get the takedown here. Is there going to be a recap? Yes, there is. There is a block here. Panic point advantage. Blue player for now. Panic point advantage, blue player. Now, there's an argument that there's enough of a threat on the heart that maybe something can happen here. You do have a sheep. You do have Evo. But this looks like a tough spot for our orange player until you account for the fact that there's 10 keys remaining for blue, 16 remaining for orange. Is this a dead Temptress? Or, it is not, in fact, a dead Noxious. You do have a Yoink here, but it's not good enough to actually push enough damage. Temptress just... Temptress leaves a lot to be desired. That's how I'd put it. Temptress leaves a lot to be desired. We do get the aggressive push here to try and, but still not enough to take down Ray. Still not enough to take down Ray. Round 4, but everyone playing 3.0 should have been round 3. What relevance? Oh, just because it's 3.0? I was about to say, like, what relevance does the round have to anything here? So we get the yoink here, eliminating things from our blue player's side of the board. We're getting an aggressive push. Of course, the Hevo is still going to have access to the heart due to the lob. We have Temptress in place, but as mentioned, Temptress's damage is anemic at best. And the sheep does go in order to force a usage of the muffin. There's not enough damage or any way to actually reach it. Somehow this muffin took damage. I assume it was like on a panic point or something. And Crushmore is the follow-up. Presumably strictly for the lob. With the preemptive muffin, that means that even a Noxious Splash could be wiped away. We'll have to see how that goes. There are multiple things that can, of course, hit this spider, but not enough in a fashion to actually kill it. You'd get 1, 2, 3 hits, because you could splash off of the statue, which it appears that our blue player may have missed, possibly. We do get this, oh, maybe not. Getting this splash here going down on the spider. So they didn't miss this play. I think you could have just killed the spider. This, and this kill the spider. This kills the sheep, and then the muffin heals this. They might have realized it. I think they realized it. Because then this dies... Oh, it'll die to fire and poison. Or that. Oh, wait, this would not have died. Well, I think you leave the Gravedigger. The Gravedigger would die eventually, like literally the next turn. And then you instead kill the spider with a combination of these. But this allows you to mount a greater defense. Noxious is going to have to get involved the old-fashioned way. Let's get weird. What? I mean, I know I said that before, but what? So we're getting the electrical damage going down on Hevo here. Maybe we're not. It was undone. Are we going to get heart damage instead? 4,900 health, but a 4-to-1 panic point advantage. 7 more keys are going into a Gralien. We did see a Gralien earlier on this map in particular, and it did in fact result in a W for said Gralien user. But Slime Cat, you're following up, burning the rest of your keys with Murder Wing. This isn't a terrible position for Slime Cat because you're not really vulnerable to a ton of things here. It's going to be a challenge positioning-wise. The problem is that this Temptress is also just in a horrendous spot. I think the spider needed to go here. Temptress get 1 hit and pull out. Because otherwise, you're just not, like... I love aggressive plays, but I think this is just a dead Temptress with no real benefit. Because you're going to get the Noxious here. That means that now these have to vacate, because Ray Chargels is going to be leaning into this. You have no follow-up in order to really take advantage of a Yoink here, given the rest of your positioning. I think the Temptress just needed to leave. Put the spider here, put the Temptress here, and then, okay, they beat up your Hevo a little bit. Just walk it off. Well, not really, but... Foul is the penultimate phobie. Maybe not the penultimate, but it is one of the last phobies from our blue player. Foul is interesting here. I kind of get it. It's a 7 for a 7 key as a counter for the Gralien. The Gralien's going to have to... It's going to be rough. The Gralien can, of course, switcher you to here with the Hevo. 2 hits, 1 hit, but that's not nearly good enough. That's just straight up not good enough. I don't think you can kill anything of value here. And this is just a dead Graylien now. However, this is also a lot of heart damage. Is this enough? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This is 1,000 damage. That's half your health. No, don't do that. Don't do that. You need the heart damage. If you're going for this heart rush plan, you gotta commit. You gotta commit. You beat up the heart, you push 1,000 damage, and then you hope that you get enough after that. I don't think it's worth doing it any other way. This, unfortunately, does not protect the Hevo, but this would mean... So the spider, here's what happens. This hits twice, this swings here, kills this. The spider swings up. A combination of the Foul and the Hevo kill Crushmore, and then it's like Murder Wing versus the world, basically. But you also have to cap panic points. You have to get them this turn. As our blue player, that is. This one's going to come down to the wire. I think this could go either way. It's really going to come down to, as always, the player decisions. The Graylien dimensional damage, Ouchtown. Panic point 1 captured. Did utilize the Foul. So that means that this Crushmore probably does not die. And the Murder Wing is not actually in position to hit the heart just yet. Did our blue player do it? They might have 1,000 damage. This is only going to be 800, and the Murder Wing cannot recap a point. It cannot connect with the heart. I think that is, as they say, the ball game. Graylien could move Crushmore back, switch the Hevo, and then yoink. That is an option. That is an option. It would leave the Graylien exposed. I don't hate the line that was taken. I mean, look at this. This is, again, similar to another game that we had earlier. 200 health remaining on the heart. It's hard to argue that this was a bad line. I mean, obviously it didn't work. Maybe the other one would have won the game. But this is close enough that, again, slight variations throughout the game could have resulted in a panic point advantage for one turn longer. And then this game is over. But I think this is the end of Slime Cat, realistically. Get a little timer rundown here. But the panic point advantage is, of course, in favor of our blue player. There's realistically no way for our orange player to actually recap this, so... Like, they're not going to recap any points. There's no way for them to actually kill all the Phobies. Just not possible. I mean, the Ray Chargels will go down, but that's about it. At this stage, it's a matter of trapping the Murder Wing so that it can't just run around the map freely. At most, it can go 1, 2, 3, 4, end up here and it's dead. It can go 1, 2, 3, 4, end up here and it's dead. 1, 2, get trapped here and it's dead. But definitely a good game. Very close game. Very well played. We're watching the demise. GG. Like I said, a minor change earlier in the game might have actually swung the game in favor of our orange player, but 200 health, that's gotta be a record for Fright Night. 200 health, it's got to be a record for Fright Night. Oh, there we go. The timer's actually going. I thought we got the bug again where the timer wasn't actually counting down. It does count down in game, but we've seen it where when we're observing games, I think that's a known bug for the devs that sometimes it will not actually count down. I am well aware, chat. I'm well aware. The final death throws come in where I'm just waiting for it to actually roll to completion so that we can officially say that we got this one there. And then we'll move on, see what other games are available. We are cutting it close on the timer, of course. At this point in time, there are 2 minutes remaining. 2 minutes remaining. Guess we're getting a little BM here. Hitting the heart. Completely unnecessary. Obviously, you can just hit here. Unless they're trying to see if they can actually kill the heart, which seems pointless. Actually, well, could they have gotten the heart? No, because it's 1,000 damage here. GG, ball game. Well played, both players. Very close game. Very tight game.